Don't worry about that. I didn't drop something just now. Welcome to the Full Dive Gaming Podcast, bringing a weekly dive of all the news, discussion, and condensed nerd talk you need for virtual reality gaming every Friday. I'm Jay Bratt, a VR YouTuber, and your host tonight. I'm filling in for Rip, who's here in spirit. You might see him in the chat, but he needed to keep his head out of VR because he wanted to watch the Jonas Brothers concerts on his computer, so he's not there. Adam.
I'm Adam Charlton, a VR game developer who is really kind of getting tired of having to come up with unique and witty things to say every week for my intro. I'm sitting down and I'm like, I really have to come up with something unique again today? I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Sorry,
Right,
hold on. I'm
Destiny?
just now noticing the part that I'm assuming you put in.
You
Destiny
have to read
Wheeler,
it.
and I'm okay. I'll read it word for word. And I'm back from the Jonas Brothers VR concerts.
We've been missing Destiny for a couple weeks, and as we've been saying on all the podcasts, she was off chasing the Jonas Brothers around, which may or may not be true. We're all sitting here in virtual reality. We're interacting as if we were really together in one room. So if you're listening to the podcast and you haven't checked out the YouTube channel, come check out the YouTube channel. You can see us and our lovely virtual faces here. We run the podcast in 4 sections. First, we're going to have a Q&A section, mostly from our Discord and Patreon community. Second, a VR gaming news section, keeping you up to date. Third, we'll talk about our experiences with some of the new VR games to come out, or some of the goldies if it's not a great week for releases. And fourth, we'll be running a discussion that changes week to week. This week, we're going to be talking about what is Facebook doing to VR. Last week, we covered the future of VR entertainment, so check out last week's podcast to hear all about it. We've got some questions. You've got questions. We've got answers. And our first question is from Starsight. Starsight says, who's the best at Beatsaber? Now, this is the moment where I'm supposed to go this guy. But guess what? We are going to stream an event of all of us fighting it out and finding out who's actually the Beatsaber champ. So that's going to be this Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. So watch out for some details on that on our Discord and on our channel and everyone else. So I guess that resolves that question. Who else had a question, Adam?
Sure. So Rumbo had the next question, who asked, what's the worst VR-based decision you've ever made? Besides investing into VR, right? No, I'm kidding. No, the worst VR decision you've ever made, you really have to be really careful with when you set up your Guardian boundaries, because if you make a mistake, you will have some seriously bad decisions. And so one time when I'm like, the Guardian, I can push that out, I can put it over my desk, and punched my desk. That was definitely a worst VR-based decision I've ever made.
Yeah, that's rough.
What about you guys, though?
I feel like for me, it would be jumping into games that have locomotion when I definitely did not have my VR legs yet.
That
That's kinda
is a tough mistake to make. I know Nat suffers with a bit of that. Speaking of Nat, we were filming a video together, and I had trusted the mats that I put down as like, hey, I'm going to stay on the mat. I usually always do. I don't have to worry about it. Well, we were playing Rec Room Dodgeball, and somehow she was a little on her edge of the mat, and I was on or off mine, and I was able to reach her, and I threw a dodgeball, and I just punched her right in the headset.
Oh,
So
no.
That definitely has to be the worst one. Luckily, it was a PlayStation VR, which they kind of hover above in front of your face a little bit. So the headset took most of the impact. She was okay, luckily. Probably worst decision.
for Nat.
Oh, Destiny,
man.
who else has got a question?
Okay, so up next we have one from BR Ryan, and he wants to know if Oculus made new controllers for the current headset that had finger tracking like the Index, would you get it? So I think the controllers are definitely one of the things that could use some tweaking. Of course, everybody loves the Index controllers. So I do think instead of just like focusing on full hand tracking, if they did do an overhaul on the controllers to mimic the indexes, I would definitely try it out.
Yeah, Adam, have you ever tried? You have the Index controllers, obviously. Have you ever tried a Rift or any of those controllers to see the difference? Do you know?
Tried a Rift. I had Vive wands for quite some time, and so upgrading from the Vive wands to the Index controllers was a significant difference. And I don't know if I could go back to it.
Vive ones are terrible.
Yeah, Vive in many ways, the headset and the controllers was just the Gen 1 of the Gen 1s. It felt almost more like a tech demo.
Oh, wow.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that because like a lot of people probably don't remember back in the day. The original Vive launched with its wands. The Oculus Rift launched next to that, but their controllers didn't come out for like 7 or 8 months after. So they had some time to learn from some of the mistakes. So people are surprised the Oculus controllers have stayed mostly the same all these years. Well, they had time. They didn't come out right at the beginning. I mean, it wouldn't even have to be index controllers. If they make anything better than these controllers, I would get them. The Touch 2.0s were worse than the Touch 1.0s, in my opinion. I miss my old Rift controllers. And for all of you out there who don't know this already, I'm actually now on Quest controllers on my Rift because my Rift controllers were dying. And so I switched my Quest ones out with it because on Quest, I mostly play Beatsaber and you don't need the joysticks, but my joysticks are breaking on my Rift ones. So yeah, I'm not pleased or in love with these controllers. If they make anything better, I'm going to switch. So hopefully that answers your question, Ryan.
Sure.
Nunio asked us, what are your top old game series that should be rebooted in VR? So I'd say we can each go around and kind of, I know Adam's been thinking about it. So Adam, what do you think? Do you have a game series you'd love to see come back to life in VR?
Ooh, I said I've been thinking about it. I didn't say I had a solution yet.
Uh-oh.
Now, in terms of old game series, there's tons of old game series that I'd love to come back. I gotta say, one of the biggest game series would be, you know, Star Wars Battlefront. I would love to see the original Star Wars Battlefront, Battlefront 2. Though that was my childhood, man. If I could get any one of those games in VR, I really like those shooters, and so maybe it'll just be Pavlov, even just Pavlov, but with a Star Wars skin on it. That would be
Yes.
incredible.
What systems were those on when you're talking the old
Oh,
ones?
PlayStation 2.
Oh,
Those were the
wow.
days.
Wow.
That was my childhood.
That's funny because I only know them from PlayStation 4.
Really?
Battlefront
Oh,
1 and 2. Yeah, I never played the old ones. So I was like, those aren't that old.
no. The PlayStation 2 era Battlefront 2, that's where it's at.
Okay.
You know, these usurpers in the modern consoles, yeah, those don't count.
Totally. Well, Destiny, you've had a little less time to think about this. Do you have one?
Okay, so what are we considering like old?
I mean,
Like how old?
Just
even
anything.
anything.
Just
Yeah,
the game.
let's just say a few years. Obviously, not something that's not out this year, but just anything really.
Okay, so we've kind of talked about this, but I really would like to see the GTA in VR. I know technically it kind of already is, but I'd like to see it like perfected and
Yes.
truly for VR,
Yeah,
like
native
from
VR.
Rockstar.
Or
Yeah,
or
I
like the
think that
Grand
would
Theft
be
Auto San
cool.
Andreas game, which I still think might be the best one, even better than the current one. I'm with you. I would love to see any of them from the ground up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be awesome.
Well, for
What
me,
about you? Yeah.
this is probably nostalgia talking, and Zelda games do still exist, but I would love to see like the Ocarina of Time fully rebuilt in VR. Because that game, the music, the gameplay, and actually just the other day in VR chat, I went and saw uh a Temple of Time with the same music from and everything in VR, and that was just like, oh my gosh. I would spend so much time replaying that game in virtual reality. That game was like so much of my childhood. It was amazing. Ah,
Oh, nice.
nostalgia.
Yeah, if only Nintendo will ever get into the VR game, but you
They
know,
did
it's not
Labo.
looking likely for a while. Yeah, that
Labo,
doesn't
come on.
count. That's sort of like you know, careening off the edge of a cliff VR.
Oh my gosh, that is a good way to put that. I like that. Oh my gosh. Well, with this week's Q&A wrapped up, let's start the news section. But first, this week's news segment is brought to you by our sponsor, Asterion. Does your VR headset still live in a cardboard box? Well, here at Full Dive Gaming, we believe your headset should rest on a stand worthy of your VR device. And that's why we are excited to recommend the Aura Universal VR stand. It's compatible with every VR headset. It's minimalist, it's modern, and it looks great on your desk. I wish I had one right here to like touch and show you, or in your living room, wherever you want it. It's got RGB lighting. You can cycle through all the colors or have it constantly changing. It even has a convenient USB port on the side. So if you have a Quest like Destiny, you can plug it in and keep it charged. If you have rechargeable controllers now that I have modified my Rift ones to that, I can keep them charged. If you have Adam's got the Index, do you charge your Knuckles with it?
I
Is that what you
do.
do? Nice.
Yes.
Do they split off one USB or do you have to have like a stand or something?
I charge them one at a time, which normally isn't a big deal. So, yeah, normally I'm running with like one controller fully charged and one about halfway, and then I just switch them over.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so if my left hand just sort of like fades away, you know what happened.
so we know something.
Yeah,
If Adam only starts talking with one hand the entire podcast long, we
and we
know
know why.
that. Well, if you guys out there want to pick up your own Asterion Aura VR stand, you know it. Use the code Full Dive, one word, Full Dive at AsterianProducts.com to get $5 off any order over $19.99. That's Full Dive, FULLDIVE, no spaces, and you can get your Aura VR stand for just $24.99, which is a smoking price for this stand. I honestly think I'm surprised it didn't cost more than it did.
Yeah, it is a really good price, especially with how customizable it is.
And well worth the
Yeah.
upgrade for my cardboard box.
Oh yeah, or the box that came in.
Yeah, this stand, if you've seen pictures out there, if you know someone who can do like good etching or something, you can like put a design into it. And I won't give away too many spoilers, but Asterion sent us some pictures and there might be a giveaway with some customized ones coming. So
Oh
Ooh.
yeah,
keep an eye out
for
for
sure.
that. Well, let's talk about some news.
Yeah, Jay, what do you got for us this week?
So, first thing, kind of big news, kind of what we were expecting. Sony in Japan posted a job listing confirming that they're working on a next gen VR headset. So now this next part is translated literally by Google Translate, so we all know how that is. But it said, "We are developing a next generation VR head mounted display, and the company is on the hunt for a team of around 15 people that will be in charge of mechanical design of the lens barrel, supporting the optical system, small and lightweight housing, heat radiation design, development of jig for optical system evaluation, etc."
Yep, you
And
can
the
definitely
translated
tell it
part.
was a Google translated.
Yeah, yeah. What I've got some theories and some things I've read on this. What does that sound like to you guys? What does that mean?
What do they mean heat radiation design?
So
That just
probably,
means making sure that the headset doesn't get hot for you.
yep.
It's radiated away from the user.
Oh, I thought they were trying to like integrate like, like when you put a fan on you or something to make it feel more real. I was like, or, I don't know, they're trying to make it
Oh
warm
yeah,
for you or
the
something.
fourth dimension, when you
Yeah.
walk into the sun, it heats up on your
Yeah.
face, right?
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
As cool as
In
that
the
sounds sweaty and hot.
For sure. That's great.
Well,
No,
this is
it
go
just
ahead, go
sounds
ahead.
like a typical to me, it just sounds like a typical version 2. It sounds like the next upgraded part of PlayStation VR, and honestly, hopefully they yeah, I don't know. The one thing that does sound interesting is the optical system evaluation. There could be something interesting with that because, normally it's just VR. All VR really is just slapping a couple 4K monitors on your face, right? But optical system evaluation sounds like they might be doing some interesting things there. So I'm excited to see what comes of it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're hoping for the same in there. So there's been rumors circulating this, and this could all just be people's speculation. So keep that in mind with this next part. But what some people have taken from this and from some of the other news that's coming out, they're saying that this means Sony is, of course, working on a next gen VR headset, but they're thinking that this may not be the PSVR 2. They may be taking a different direction. This might be Sony making some sort of like a PS Vita headset that could then work wirelessly because of the patents we've seen and
Mm.
also be tethered to the PS5 to basically be kind of like the Quest of consoles.
Oh,
Oh,
that would be
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, wireless headsets are definitely the future, don't get me wrong, but yeah, you just sacrifice. I feel like you sacrifice so much in going full wireless than you'd get from being tethered. But a streaming, I don't know. It's all up in the air. I'm excited to see what they come out with.
I think
Yeah.
you're totally right. I think there is sacrifices, but I think Sony being the console maker already, like the original PSVR, they weren't looking to be the top of the chain with the resolution or the tracking or anything. They were looking to be the most approachable headset. And if they can deliver on a wireless headset that could be even wirelessly tethered to your PS5 when you want to play something more intensely, or some of the patents have shown multiple headsets somehow streaming to the same PS5. If there's a way
Ooh,
your friend can bring this over and you can play even just simple VR games together, I mean, that would be what they would need to stay in VR right now and keep innovating rather than starting to look like they're just chasing everyone else.
that could be a good way to get ahead. I would love to see Sony take the lead on wireless headsets. That is a sphere of innovation that really needs a boost forward. And, I'd love to see Sony take the lead on that. Might actually convince me to buy a PlayStation.
Ooh.
What about you, Destiny? You're gonna sell your Quest if all this came true?
No, I think I'm still gonna hold out for the index going to wireless one day. But I mean, if they can make, especially, were you saying that they're gonna make streaming easier? Is that kind of like what they're trying to get at?
That's what the patents all look like, but as we know, patents don't necessarily do anything. They don't
Yeah.
Right.
necessarily mean anything, but what we've seen is it looks like they're trying to at least figure out a way to make the the game stream wirelessly to a headset or built into the headset. So that's what some of the patents suggest. We don't know for sure.
If they could pull that off, that would be definitely a huge plus and benefit. That's one of the biggest issues I have with the Quest.
Yeah. Yeah, the Quest
That
is
you have Facebook.
Quest is cool. Oh gosh, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Let's take this in another direction. Adam, you have some news for us, don't
Yeah,
you?
well, speaking of all of these interesting patents, there's some more evidence that Apple is working on its own unique VR solution. The company recently filed a patent for their Apple VR boundary system. Now, again, this is just a patent, but it was published August. Um, that can't be right. But there was a patent that was just documented, and it's detecting physical boundaries when immersed in a virtual reality environment. So, this is the strongest evidence so far that we've seen that Apple is currently working on its own VR solution and environment. And, it can't wait to get here. The more big players in the VR environment, the faster it'll develop. And so, I can't wait to see Apple join the crowd as well.
Yeah, so the patent was filed in March, but it was just now published on August 13th. So
But
that
you see,
that
we're
sh
not
Okay.
to August 13th yet, and now actually we are. Is it already
Now
August?
you're
I
gonna
read
confuse
I read
me.
the date of August 13th, and I'm like, "That can't be right. August is still next month." Oh my
COVID
gosh.
COVID brain has affected all of our senses of time. It
So
is
that's what
actually
happened when I was reading through the news piece. I read
What
August,
year
and I'm
is
like,
it?
"It can't possibly be August 13th. It hasn't been here yet." So, sorry about that, dear listener.
we're coming to the end of August, which I'm with you. I can't believe that either. But I think this is surprising for several reasons. Everyone kept saying Apple was not going to go VR. Apple's not going to go VR. They're doing their AR thing. So like to see something this definitive come out that really suggests this is a VR thing. I mean, this could also work in augmented reality, but it doesn't really need to.
Right.
It-
Yeah,
it-
I'm definitely with you on that. This is similar to Oculus's Guardians and Valve Chaperone mode. This is specifically for VR. When you're in augmented reality, there's a lot of pass through. You're still interacting with your own actual IRL environment.
Um,
This feels very much a VR specific thing. So I don't know.
see.
and
Oh no.
if there was a company that would come in and make a really user-friendly headset that was super trendy and everybody wants, I mean, it would be Apple. That's kind of their MO. They they tend to let others pioneer for a minute and then they just come in and blow away all the pioneers by making it the most user-friendly thing out there. And we definitely need more user-friendly in VR to get more people into it. So I like the prospect of this and I just want to see more. I want to know what the heck they're talking about.
See, I'm a bit worried for it actually, and I'll let you know why. Because Apple is great at what am I going to say? It's great at perfecting. It's great at taking a concept and just absolutely making it so streamlined and so perfect. But the other thing they love to do is build their own environment. And so we
Ah,
already have two key environments that are we have the Oculus platform and we have the Steam VR platform. And if Apple joins the gang, they aren't going to play well with anyone else. They're going to come in and try and dominate with
Hmm.
their own environment. And that's what I'm worried about. We don't want
Yeah,
VR to be splintered right now. VR benefits as a whole if it tries to come together. And so having Apple come in and start its own environment will really fracture the VR world.
exactly. That's what I was thinking. Like, yeah, it's great that it'll definitely bring a lot more new VR players to the game, but at the same time, just like I don't know, I'm kind of bitter towards Apple right now. I'm not a big fan of theirs, especially I don't know if you're up to date with their beef with Fortnite right now or Epic Games in general.
Yeah.
Like, I'm mad about that, and so I feel like it's kind of like what you're saying. I feel like that's what's going to happen. Like, they're going to come in and then they're gonna kind of like butt heads with everybody, and like there's gonna be more games that aren't cross play, and I don't know. Like, we'll see.
They're gonna come in and buy Pavlov and just screw all of our lives
No,
up.
yes, I could see that happening. Yeah, only
Well,
Apple users can play it.
yep.
But right
Only
now,
Apple.
yeah, but right now it's just in the patent phase. We don't know anything for sure. So I
Good,
guess
stay there.
we'll get more details and we'll give them to you, dear listener, as they come out.
What's next? Destiny, you've got something for us, right?
Yep. Okay, so a new Beatsaber Linkin Park DLC was released on the 17th. 11 new songs from Linkin Park launched this week. 3 of them are from the 20-year-old album Hybrid Theory. I remember that. It was a good album. So, so there is 55 new beat maps total due to the different difficulties. As for the price, the whole pack is $13.99 or $1.99 each song, and there is a new tunnel environment for these tracks, which looks pretty awesome. So
Either of
that's
you
cool. I'm
have
glad
either
to
you
see
played
that
it?
they're okay. So I have played some of the Linkin Park, but not this way.
Not the
Like,
official.
yeah. So I don't really know how to explain this. That's why when I heard about this, like, yeah, that's cool and great, but like I've already been playing some of the Linkin Park songs. But it's cool that they're making it official for everyone.
That's
Yeah,
kind
and
of
that's a
the
part of the problem though that Beat Saber is having is they've been pretty good about allowing mod support, and so when they're coming out with official content like this, it makes it kind of difficult. It's like, hey, you can play all the Linkin Park
Yeah.
songs, and everyone who's been modding is like, I've been playing those for
Yeah.
years.
Cool.
oh
But
my
no, to see
gosh.
official releases for these is cool to see.
It is, yeah, and especially with them bringing a little bit more like rock style to the game. It's cool.
It's definitely really big for the PSVR crowd, of course, because they don't have mods, they don't have options. It's
I
big
know you poor
True.
souls.
It's big for the Quest crowd who doesn't want a side quest or doesn't have a PC to do it and is still having to rely on them. I'm super excited. I got this first off. I played it. The environment itself, I would say, is worth the money. The
Ooh,
environment is actually like the coolest part of it. My problem was I was streaming it, and the environment had so much lights and so much interactivity that it was bogging down my. I was
Oh
getting
wow.
total frame drops in the headset. I was struggling. I ended up having to like turn all the settings way down to keep it running. I was also in mixed reality, which only makes it
Oh
worse
okay.
too.
yeah,
Yeah, you
So
need to
sure.
start flagging an epilepsy warning before you start your streams from now on.
that's
Yeah.
probably true, actually. Tell people you need to be careful. One thing I will warn everybody out there: if you are a content creator and if you got this pack, it did immediately get blocked after the live stream is over. Total block, not just a claim or anything. So
Oof.
if you have it, play it, enjoy it. Don't bother streaming it for now or making videos because, well, they're not going to reach many people if that happens.
That's rough.
Yeah. I
Dang.
still highly recommend you guys check it out though, because I always
Sure.
feel like I love the custom maps, but I always feel like the Beat Saber actual mapped maps are just so good.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I'll definitely give one a try.
Well, there is more news, but we're saving that for the discussion because that's some crazy news. But
Oh yeah.
before we jump into games, we're getting some questions in the live stream chat. So let's see if we can answer one real quick. So we've got a question from Mason Carter that says, "My girlfriend wants to know what you guys think about 3D painting in VR. She's wondering how a two-dimensional medium can be translated to a 3D platform when you're not painting on a surface."
This
That's
is
actually
an
really good.
incredible question. Has anyone
Yeah.
used any of the built-in or the
Like Tilt
designated painting
Brush.
programs like Tilt Brush? Yeah. Have either of you done a lot
I
with that?
I personally haven't, but I've really been wanting to check out Tilt Brush. I do follow several VR artists, and it is a thing, and they're amazing. The stuff that they can do, they can totally recreate. I think her name's like VR Rosie, but it's a girl that I follow, and she does these insane, just like holiday, like themed, like super surreal, detailed like villages, and like I don't know, it's crazy. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing, honestly, until I really started to get into VR, and I was like, "How are these people doing that?" And then that's when I discovered Tilt Brush. So, yeah, for anybody interested in that, definitely check it out, it's worth it.
I've done several, but I'm kind of the opposite. I am terrible at them. I don't do them thinking I'm going to actually build anything nice. I just do them for fun. But like being able to draw in a 3D environment is so much different than drawing on paper because like it's not I would say I wouldn't call it drawing anymore, Mason's girlfriend. I would call it sculpting at this
Yes.
point. It's more like a sculpture because you can make it, you can make dimensions, you can make the size, you can do everything you want. And again, I'm not very good at it. So I always, whenever I get into one of these programs, I'm like, man, I wish I was a better artist right now because I can make something so cool. Because some
Yeah.
people make things in these and then they 3D print the thing they made. I mean,
Yeah,
what
it's
what is this
crazy.
world we're living in?
Right? I almost consider this closer to something like Minecraft than I would to traditional painting because you're creating something in a 3D environment, but that can also only really truly be experienced in a 3D environment. You know, like
Yeah.
and that's one of the things about this new 3D painting medium is that you can look at these 3D paintings, but it's really no different if you're looking at them on a flat computer screen than it would be just a normal painting. To really truly get the full effect, you have to experience them in VR. And that is where this medium gets so exciting
Oh,
because
Yeah.
it's allowing the people to experience an entirely new way of experiencing your art.
It is. It's so cool, and even in, like, really not such official uses, there's for people like me who aren't big artists, there's a game in Rec Room called 3D Charades, where you're, like, up on a stage with all your friends and you, like, grab a card and you're supposed to try and paint it. It's like Pictionary, but you can draw in the 3D environment. So, like, you can, like if the card was doorway or something or hallway, you could, like, quickly try to draw a hallway and, like, walk through it or move through it to kinda show
oh, cool.
that's why it's called charades, because it's like you can actually interact with these objects you're creating in this 3D environment around you, and it makes for
Oh.
some hilarious gameplay when you do this with people too. So like, not only are you ones where you're alone and you're painting, but there's ways to use this in a social aspect that's just really fun. So don't be intimidated if you're not an artist. There's tons of uses that are just amazing.
Yeah. Incredible question, Mason, and
Yes.
your girlfriend.
Yeah. And Mason's girlfriend.
Well, with that wrapped up, we're going into the game section. And Adam, you said you would tackle one of these sponsored sections tonight. You want to handle this one?
I will. So our games section is also sponsored by Asterion. So does your VR headset still live in the cardboard box that I very fondly had? Well, Asterion finally gave me a reason to bring it out of that cardboard box. The Aura the Aura stand is truly, truly incredible. It is such a good experience to pull it out of that cardboard box and put it where it belongs on its RGB throne on your desk.
That should be like a new hashtag, get it out of the box.
Right, out of the box. It's compatible with every VR headset. It looks great no matter where you put it. And if you use our promo code of Full Dive, you can get some cash back on that. So honestly, go check it out.
Yep. Hit up AsterianProducts.com. Code full dive, one word, FULLDIV, $5 off any order over $19.99. So this doesn't have to be on the Aura stand, but of course you get that Aura stand for $24.99 if you buy it this way. So that's a sweet deal. And we've talked about this so much. You've all got to know out there. We all have these stands, and I don't think any of us are going back or switching stands anytime soon because they are gorgeous and they're just
Mhm.
great. It's funny, we touched on Minecraft a bit earlier when we were talking about sculpting, but I finally got back in. I've played Minecraft in VR off and on since the days of Gear VR, but I heard about this new Nether update that was going on, and I was like, you know what? I want to do this. I want to play it, and I've been playing around live streams last week, so I was like, I'm gonna live stream some Minecraft in VR. I didn't realize that everybody can join you if you're playing Bedrock on VR. So I had people in the stream like, "Hey, can I jump on?" And they were coming from PS4s and Xboxes
Oh,
and
wow.
all coming and joining me in this world. And it is in VR, it is just Minecraft's a cool game, but it's like almost mind blowing to me in VR
Yeah.
because the scale. You see mountains in the distance when you're playing Minecraft. You're like, oh, those look like they're mountains, but you're in the headset and you can tell those are big mountains out in the distance out there. It's not just this flat image anymore. There's this crazy scale. Adam, you've played it too, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. And it really brings to scale. Like when you're playing Minecraft, okay, each cube is meter by meter by meter. And you don't realize how big that is until you get into the game. You're like, man, this is a big hunking thing in front of me.
Yeah,
No,
two of
I
them
I
is your
love
height.
for me personally, I've done quite a bit of Minecraft VR. I run my own Minecraft server for family
Oh,
and just for like, it's a great way to reconnect with friends and family who live far apart.
Yeah.
Um, I pop in on Minecraft VR, but I personally like experiencing Minecraft in VR rather than playing Minecraft in VR. I think for me personally, I find that to be a bit harder to control, a bit harder to build. I find it easier to play Minecraft on the PC and then experience what I've built in VR. And I've really gotten a lot of enjoyment out of that. You might have a different opinion. Did you enjoy playing it in VR as opposed to just experiencing it?
I love it building with it because I can like instead of like trying to aim my whole perspective, so I can just aim my hand and do
Mm.
it. And so I'm interested how the controls feel because I know you're using an index, which is a little different. Is there any finger tracking? Is there anything that's involved with that, or is it still just the buttons basically?
It's just the buttons.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing to do with any of the hand tracking or the finger tracking at all.
Well, I'm just so into Minecraft, I think, and I'm so into the scale that when I'm building something, I want to see it in VR. Like I don't play it flat at all anymore. I can't go back. Once I played it in VR, for me, that's the only way now to experience Minecraft. And I wish Microsoft says they have the version done, but they need to release it on the PSVR for all of them too, because I know they've been waiting, and they deserve this experience because it's incredible.
Have you ever
Minecraft
played the,
also gets sorry, what was that?
oh, I was just gonna ask, have you ever played the, Pavlov Minecraft map?
I have, yes.
I've seen videos, it looks pretty fun, but I've never been in it.
It is fun. The but with Minecraft, playing it in VR turns it into a horror game for me. So, like, you don't realize how big these zombies and creepers and endermen are until you turn the corner and you're staring one in the face.
Oh, no.
It is horrifying, and I jumped out of my skin the first time it happened to me.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like being in a dark cavern in VR, hearing zombies moan around you versus playing it on a computer. It's way more terrifying and a way more real experience, dude.
Yes.
That's a good point because I didn't even think about that because I've been playing it for so long. I kind of forgot, but yeah, it's terrifying. What a real quick the Pavlov map. What it just looks like Minecraft. Or is there anything Minecraft you can do in it?
There's nothing really
Um,
Minecraft you can do. It's just it looks like Minecraft. It has the same sort of block set, the same textures. You just run through it. It looks like Minecraft, and you play Pavlov in a Minecraft world. That's all it is.
yeah, and I think 'cause I guess the bomb that they were using is just like the typical diffuse bomb. Like, I don't think there was anything else that wasn't particular to Pavlov that they were using in that map, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, I guess it wasn't really super duper Minecraft. It was just more Pavlov style, but in that world.
Well,
But it looks cool.
I guess if you're on Quest, because Quest still doesn't have Minecraft in VR either. But if you have Pavlov on Quest, can you go check this out and kind of see what we're talking about seeing
And
Minecraft?
yeah, if you have the link, you can,
Uh,
because Quest without the link, you can't do custom maps. But another thing
ah,
that I don't remember the name of it, but it's on SideQuest specifically. If you are able to access it, it literally is like Minecraft, but you're running in place to move yourself. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I
okay.
understand what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I know
I
what you're
don't.
talking about, but I can't remember the name.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I don't remember the name, but when I saw it, I thought it was Minecraft. God, to run in place, it was so glitchy. Maybe it was just the way that I was running it, but no. It was cool, like, overall, just to be in it, like what y'all are saying, to, like, visually see it, but the play. So, but maybe Minecraft is, a little bit more fluent.
Yeah, well, that the version I played on. So for those of you out there who are hearing about this for the first time, there's a couple different versions of Minecraft. There's the Bedrock Edition, aka Windows 10. I think those two are the same. Actually, they might be two different versions too. So
Yeah,
don't quote me on.
Bedrock is the same version as the one you played on.
Okay.
The native one.
And then there's also Java Edition. So if you play Bedrock like I did, Oculus only headsets have full support for it. Freaking Oculus. And so
Mhm.
you can put it on, it plays right away. It works really smooth. I had the settings all at maximum and I'm on a 2070 and it ran fine. And I was even live streaming while I did it. So that tells you it runs really well. Where if you're on Java, you have to download Vivecraft. I still think is one of the only mods that works for it. The cool thing about that though is if I want to use my pickaxe to pickaxe a diamond, I can actually move my arm and do it. I can hit a zombie with a sword with my arm. I can swim in the water with my hands,
Yes,
and I
and
can
that does feel incredible.
yeah. You can even row the boat with the rows. And if you jump in real life, it's kind of fun because you'll get an actual Minecraft jump in the world. So when you jump, the human vertical of like 6 inches or whatever pitiful thing we jump, you get
Yeah,
to
you
feel a
jump like a
real
meter
Minecraft.
up.
Yeah, you get to feel the real Minecraft jump, and it makes you feel like you actually have some power to jump for real. So that's all the cool things about Java, but Java I've always found to be way more glitchy, not run nearly as well. You have to have the settings way lower. It never worked as well for me. What about, because you played it that way,
But the
Adam?
mods.
Uh,
You get the mods with Vivecraft, and that feels really good.
Tell me
No,
about
it
some.
it
I'm not a
definitely
modder.
well, I mean, there's mods for just about everything. You can change all the textures and all the skins and everything in the game. You can add new blocks and new crafting recipes. There's just about every single mod that you can have in a normal Java Minecraft map or server, you can get on Vivecraft.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm seeing the appeal because everybody kept saying you should be playing Minecraft. And I was like, why? I'm not much of a modder except with Beatsaber because you have to be. But beyond that, I'm not real good with mods, so I don't play around. That does sound cool. Do you think you could run shaders short of having a 2080 Ti, or is that
Oof.
just
I would try it, but I don't want my computer to catch fire. Uh, I'm not sure. I actually don't know. I don't see why you couldn't, because the game is run entirely on your PC and then it's just displaying it to your headset. So I don't see why you couldn't.
if you're super high powered? Maybe Destiny. If this comes out on Quest, or even you have the link cable, are you going to play some Minecraft with us?
Mm, we play the forest.
I do want to play the forest, and I want to play it
Play
first.
the
But
forest with me. Maybe I'll play Minecraft with you.
okay, fine. All right. Well, let's talk about another game. I finally got around to playing Pistol Whip.
Yes.
And Adam was talking about it, Rip was talking about it. This is still on your radar, Destiny, right? You just haven't gotten it yet.
Um, After hearing y'all talk about it, it made me want to try it more. But honestly, before that, I didn't really have any interest in trying it. I don't know why. It just doesn't
Interesting.
really look like my thing. But
Well, I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring on recommending you try it anyways, because you might have been one of the people who heard about Beatsaber and felt that way or something. This is another one of those games that until you experience it, like just seeing the footage and stuff, it's just not the same. It is really freaking cool. And
yeah.
I would say, even like Rip said, it jumped probably not to my top 3, but it probably jumped to my top 5 pretty quickly. You get in the game. We've talked about it. I don't need to tell much about it, but I mean, for those of you who haven't seen it, it is called a rhythm-based game, but you're shooting. You have one gun. You're being propelled through this environment, and you're shooting these bad guys who are coming at you. You're dodging bullets. You have great dubstep style music on, and you're playing to the beat. You're moving all around, and I am physically sore today from only playing a half an hour, like muscle sore. Like I feel like I worked out doing some weird Pilates because I have like weird muscles in my back and sides that I didn't even know existed are hurting today. So you get the added bonus of getting a workout while you're doing it, but you're having a really fun time. Adam, how much have you played of it now?
I've played quite a bit of time. I've sunk probably a couple dozen hours into this game.
Wow.
It is just incredible. And when you mentioned you only got one gun, you haven't experienced even half of the game yet, man. There is a lot of different modding options where you can really tailor your experience. And I gotta say, some of the most fun I've ever had is dual wielding these giant desert eagles and just blowing away guys, feeling like I'm in the Matrix or John Wick. It feels incredible. I love the game. Like you mentioned, when I played it, it jumped right near to the top of favorite games I've played at all times, even overtaking the king Beatsaber.
Wow.
But
Ooh,
Jay,
wow.
what do you think? Can this overturn your champion of Beat Saber?
Well, just playing it myself, I played for a half an hour. I was live streaming. I would say from that experience, definitely not. But hearing you say there's more to it, my worry was I got in and easy was too easy. Normal was a little too easy, but hard was still, I couldn't beat the songs on hard. So I was already worrying in a half an hour, like, does this have the legs to keep me playing? Well, I want to play it for a long time. Does it have community maps? I didn't know any of that, but the game tells you like, oh, you like recommends you only need one controller. Maybe that's the start, but I thought you couldn't get dual guns. I didn't even know that
Yeah,
yet.
so there's tons of different options to really personalize. So what you're experiencing is like the first tier of the game.
Okay.
And then you get to second tier and third tier. And second tier is where you start doing those hard maps, or maybe you include a second gun, which just makes you feel incredible. And then you get to third tier, where you turn off aim assist.
Okay.
And that makes the game incredibly hard. Even on easy, you have to hit them right on in order to get it. And then you get to 4th tier where you actually start caring about score. But there is a lot of depth in the game for people that want to experience it and get that far with it.
That's good news. That's welcome news to me because I was worried playing it. I was like, if this is really it, then I didn't think it would have the legs to last like Beat Saber does for me. But it sounds like it will, because in that first play, I was like, okay, this needs to become part of like my workout regimen. This needs to become part of my VR fitness plan, because it was good, it was fun, but man, did I punch the wall so hard at one point. I was on a mat, I had the space out, but I just went to, you get to pistol whip these guys. So you're shooting,
Yeah.
everyone tells you that the game's called pistol whip, and you think, well, why? There's guys that come down the center path, and either you're too busy shooting other guys or you're just dodging his bullets because you want to, and you just reach out and you just hit these guys with your gun, and it's so cool. But man, I punched the wall so good, and I have a green screen and I have padding behind the green screen, and I still managed to skin 2 of my knuckles. I hit it so hard
Oh man.
through all
Wow.
these layers. Yeah, I that's how hard I was gonna hit that guy.
Yeah, you can really get
Better
sucked
make sure
into the
you got
game.
knocked out.
Yeah, you can. It's dangerous how much you can get sucked into this game, but I had fun playing it. Nat got on and played it after I did, and she enjoyed it too. She definitely was, there was a bit of a, she was having a bit more of a struggle than I was from the beginning. I think it's just because I play a lot of shooters and stuff, so she wasn't just jumping right, and she also jumped further into some of the harder songs. So I feel like
Okay, so it wasn't like a moral struggle then.
no. I feel like the first song, like, I don't think they go in order of difficulty, but since I was going from left to right, I did feel like they were getting progressively harder, in my
Mhm.
opinion. And she just like jumped to one of the ones I hadn't played yet. And maybe that was part of the problem, but she still seemed to really enjoy the game, even though it wasn't seeming too easy for her. So that tells me that no matter what, it seems like pretty much anyone would probably enjoy this to a degree, kind of like Beat Saber. Like, you could put anyone in here and they would at least kind of have a fun time. And something that I appreciate, I've mentioned this on previous podcasts, this is another one of those games that could not be played flat and be the same. This is a
Yes.
VR only game. It's got to be in VR. I love that. We need
Mhm.
that for the medium.
Yeah, for sure.
So Destiny, you're gonna do it. It's on Quest. You can do it totally wirelessly.
Yeah, I mean, I might like I definitely think that I'm one of those people where, since the main reason why I wanted or got into VR was for like Pavlov and those type of games, the most popular games per se for VR, I was kind of turned off by. So like Beat Saber, things like that. And so it took me a while to even check that out. But then once I did, I love it. I'm not gonna lie, I love Beat Saber, and so how can you not? So so it is probably like that. It's probably a game that I just need to check it out, like, get out of my comfort zone, and I'm sure I'll love it too.
Please do. I'd love to hear, because then we can all have a discussion once Rip's done with the Jonas Brothers or whatever he's doing. We can all have an actual discussion
It's
and
his
talk
turn.
about this. Oh, you guys know Adam got his index. How much time have you spent playing? Have you played all your games yet to see how
Lucky.
different it is?
Yeah, so over the last 2 weeks where I've had the Index headset, I have played basically every VR game that I've owned just to compare it
Nice.
against the Vive. And
Nice.
I gotta say, the Index, I'm gonna spoil it for you. Index is better than the Vive, guys.
Oh, I'm
In a really subtle way. And I only realized this halfway through the first game that I was playing, where I tried on the Index, and of course, no screen door effect. It looks better, it sounds better. And then about an hour into the game, I realized that I had forgotten that I was wearing the Index. And that is the biggest compliment I can give. The Index is so good that you forget that you're wearing an Index. It's
nice.
just everything about the Index design is designed to make you forget that you're wearing a VR headset. And that's what makes it so good. Where the controllers, where you can just let go of them to pick up and throw things, the off-ear speakers where you're not wearing headphones, it's really comfortable to put on, it's really well balanced. There's a huge field of view. You just forget that you're wearing a headset. It is so good that you forget about the headset. And that is incredible. And so I've tried every single game I've owned, and I gotta say, Index is worth it, guys. You
Oh,
should
yeah.
really get one. It's really good.
Yeah,
Yes.
because the comfort is my biggest complaint, so if it's any more comfortable, then I'm definitely signing up.
So couple questions. One, I should have asked this. I forgot during Pistol Whip. I was definitely noticing in the Rift S, it was struggling because of the field of view. Because like I knew there was guys on my peripheral, but I had to like turn my head so much to see them to shoot. Did you play Pistol Whip? How did you feel about the extra field of view you get?
I did play Pistol Whip, and I gotta say, I had the same criticism as you while I was wearing the Vive.
Mhm.
And in Pistol Whip, it has sort of this almost annoying. That's my only criticism of Pistol Whip, where you get like this giant red line showing you on your peripherals to turn towards the enemies. And it took me a while of playing Pistol Whip on the Index that I realized I'd only seen that once in my entire play session. The field of
Mhm.
view is just big enough to accommodate that, where I can just take in the entire surrounding environment and really again, it was so good, I didn't even notice that they had to show me peripherals because I could just see them.
Did you
Nice.
try Pavlov?
I again, every single game I
Like
owned.
everything. So how much better
Pavlov
was it?
definitely holds up, but and maybe we'll talk about this next week, but yeah, I played a lot more time in Contractors. But
Yeah.
Pavlov holds up in Index. Um, it's not as significant a difference with the Index because a lot of the ranges in Pavlov are close enough where the screen door effect and your vision at distance doesn't really matter. The one thing though is that there's a couple of maps in Pavlov, like Data Center or the Dark Forest, where the darks are really dark, and the Index doesn't do that quite as well. The darks are more of like a really darkish gray instead of like a black. And that's my only criticism, but Pavlov does hold up in on the Index.
Nice.
Well, my last question. So we've touched on comfort. I've been reading about the Index, and there's kind of a love it or hate it as far as comfort goes. But in diving really further in to find out why, a lot of people were trained from the Rift and from the Quest. You got to pull that band as far down the back of your skull as possible. You got to have it as low on your skull, and then people are trying to do that with the Index, and I guess it's not really meant to go that low. It's supposed to be higher, and it's going to be more comfortable. So, what have you noticed with the comfort and the headband and everything?
I've had a lot of comfort with it. But like you mentioned, the index headband is really designed to be pretty high up. It's supposed to sit right when your skull sort of gets that dip in the back of your head. There's two bands, and one fits right on the top of that, and one fits right underneath that at an angle. So as long as you can nail the comfort, it does take some time to get the comfort set up. And my brother-in-law tried out my headset and messed up all of the all the Velcro straps, and I've still been trying to get it back to that comfort that I had when I first tried it on. But when you nail
Oh
the
no.
comfort, you forget you're wearing a headset. It is just immensely comfortable.
Nice. Well, we'll definitely continue to hear more about the Index, and as you know, Rip is waiting on his too. So we'll have a segment in weeks coming of a deep dive comparing them when they both have talked about. But we'll keep asking Adam questions there. Adam, big question: what is Facebook doing to VR?
You know, that's a question I've been asking myself every time I look at the news, Jay.
Looking it over and running it. Oh.
Right. So, for those who haven't heard the news, Facebook has announced that anyone who's going to be using the Oculus device, who's creating the Oculus account, you have to use a Facebook account to log into it. And in a couple of years, they're going to they're going to cancel all of your current Oculus accounts and force you to merge it in with your existing Facebook account to continue using Oculus. So basically, if you want to keep using the Oculus headset for your current headsets or any future headsets, you have to link it to your Facebook accounts. So, you know, it's
Stupid.
there's some problems in Oculus land over there.
Oh yeah, like I already see a huge difference just from the time that I first got my headset to now. Like in the beginning, you could like add friends and do the social stuff and do these other things without linking it to your account. And then I noticed one day over time, because I personally I hate Facebook. I don't use it. And so like for personal use. And so I did notice like I think it was just a few months later it may have been around the same time that there was talk of the whole Beatsaber and Facebook thing merge. But
Mhm.
anyways, so a little bit after that, they made it to where you had to sign in. You had to link it if you wanted to be able to like add friends and everything. Like they didn't even give you the option. And it's been downhill since then. Like, that's crazy. Like, there's so many people out there who don't wanna have to link it up to social media and to not give them that option.
Yeah.
It's
There's
not good.
there's a whole bevy of reasons. I mean, whether it's
Oh,
data
yeah.
harvesting, whether it's just your own personal privacy, whether it's that you are, a really cool person that people think are cool and you think VR is nerdy, but you like it. You don't want your friends to all know that you have a VR headset. Like there's so many reasons that this is
Yes,
just
so
not
many.
good. What let's take this from the other side for a second. What are they trying to benefit? What are they trying to do from this?
Yeah,
Why is this
exactly. It's
But
almost
that's the thing
creepy.
though. You see they do have some really they have a very distinct idea for what the future of VR is supposed to be, and Facebook is trying to support that. So this announcement came at about the same time that they're starting to release ads and things for their new Facebook Horizon, which is Facebook's version of, Ready Player One's VR Oasis, where VR isn't to Facebook, VR isn't supposed to be this just an ecosystem where you play games, but it's where you log in, you interact with friends, you can maybe play games and do activities, but it's more of a cohesive ecosystem where you stay in it a long time, maybe do your work there, hang out with friends, chat with friends. So forcing you to log in with Facebook is connecting you with all of your Facebook friends by default. And so they're hoping to draw into that ecosystem, that pre existing Facebook social network to try and do that. Whether or not that's a good thing is a bigger discussion, but that's what they're trying to do. They have a very distinct vision for it and they're moving for it.
Ugh, well,
You're so weird.
I remember when Facebook first bought Oculus and there was a lot of doom and gloom back then. And Lucky Palmer, who was one of the founders of Oculus, he said that like he wasn't going to let Oculus make Facebook become a part of this. They were going to own it, but he wasn't going to let this happen. Well, then due to disagreements, he left. He left Oculus. And so people were like, "Oh crap." Well, then things kind of calmed down and it sat for quite a while. It's been now and we were all like, "When are we going to start seeing some disaster? When is something going to go wrong?" Well, I'm going on a bit of a story time here, so just be prepared. Yesterday, I was talking to this new person in the community, and he was telling me how much he loved Beatsaber, but he doesn't have his own rig yet, and he's been going to the VR arcade as often as he can and playing it there, and actually getting pretty decent. He's getting up to level hard and playing it there. And just yesterday was the first time we'd started talking about this, and he was telling me, "I'm going today. I'm so excited. I'm so excited." Then he messages me later in the day and he's like, "It's gone." And I don't know.
Oh,
And he's like, "The game was gone from the arcade." And they told me because they weren't Oculus specific devices, the game had disappeared.
oh
And
no.
I was like, what is he talking about? Like all this time, Facebook hadn't made any of his moves. We kind of all were starting to get into this false sense of security. They bought Beat Games, which made Beat Saber, but we thought, oh, they're not going to mess with anything. And then all of a sudden, they wiped it out from all the arcades that don't already have Oculus devices. So
Oh
Wow.
no.
they're forcing the arcades to switch to Oculus. They're taking away what people have had, and it's just
They're
I
trying to
it,
get monopoly.
yeah,
Which
exactly.
honestly, as Facebook as a company, they want that monopoly. I mean,
Yeah, they do.
if Facebook could own the air you breathe, they would do it.
Oh, yes,
But,
exactly.
and honestly, this isn't too far off. Like, VR is great and all, but imagine Facebook owning every single thing you see, you hear, you touch, and interact with in VR. That is a feature that I really don't wanna live in.
Oh,
Nope.
oh gosh, what was the name of that? Was it Gregarious Games in Ready Player One? Was the company that like made the Oasis? They're
Yeah.
trying to like they're trying to make that shop for that. But what drives me crazy about this too, like they're saying in 2023, we're gonna make this switch. Like, for those of you out there, how many people even are gonna want to be on Facebook in 2023? The thing
Hopefully not.
about yeah, the thing about social media, kids don't necessarily want to be on the same social media their parents are on. And even already, Facebook's kind of starting to get looking like the old the old one, everybody's on TikTok or Instagram or Snapchat. Like, how are they trying to preserve and lengthen the life of Facebook by doing this?
I don't know. I think VR is their pathway to reinvigorating Facebook. Imagine if they start turning Facebook into almost a VR specific place. Well, I mean, all these old people probably aren't going to have VR, so they might migrate off. Probably not. You know how long it took for all of them to get on Facebook, but But no, like this might be their way of reinvigorating by forcing people to use a Facebook account with VR. It's really going to try and reinvigorate all of this younger generation who's a little bit more tech savvy and into VR into going back to Facebook. I don't know.
Horrible.
They're trying to monopolize it, and then we got
Yeah, they
Apple
are.
potentially coming into the market and
And then they're gonna
fracturing
do
it
the
there.
same thing.
What is happening to our VR
They just
future? I feel
want
like
you to stay away.
I feel like everything looked so bright last week, and I feel like I'm
Yeah,
kind of
it's
getting bogged
grim.
down. Yeah, I'm getting bogged down in the Reddit doom and gloom, and it's just
Mhm.
what are some positives that can come out of this? Tell me something good.
Everybody needs an index.
Yes, the hero of this story, Valve, comes in to save the
Yes.
day again from the
Yeah,
corporate
Oh,
monopolies.
exactly.
oh, I'm getting a headache here. Adam, you've had a lot to say on this. Is there some good positives? Can we like think of a way that this turns out great for us in the VR industry?
There is some good things. If it is reaching out to Facebook and it starts to become a little bit more mainstream, there could be more people that join as a part of it because it is going to be what Facebook is doing is trying to make VR an inherently social experience, which up until this point, unless you're on a couple of specific applications in VR, you didn't get that. It was for gaming only. And so turning VR into an inherently social experience could be a really incredible way to get more people into the VR ecosystem, to get people comfortable with it, and having VR be more incorporated into people's lives. This could be a significant cultural change that needs to happen for VR to hit true mainstream. So there are some positives with what Facebook has envisioned for the future of VR. But at the same time, I really don't want Facebook controlling what I see.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
That's the thing. Like, it
right?
sounds good in theory, but like coming out of their mouths, it's just like BS. Like, there is more of like a hidden agenda. Like, I don't know. It sounds too good. Like, there is
Right.
something else going on.
It's like I'm all in favor for our like an IRL utopia, you know? Oh, I'd love to have everything paid for me, make lots of money. I wouldn't trust North Korea to be in charge of that.
Right.
And that's what's
Yeah,
happening here. It's like
exactly.
someone contracted out North Korea to design a utopia for us. And
Yeah.
I'm not all that comfortable with it.
Nope.
I
100%.
There's a couple more points we need to touch on. One big one is that it's kind of obvious from the implications, but we haven't called this out. They are gonna make all future unreleased Oculus devices need a Facebook account to be used. So even if you had an Oculus device right now, if you get a new device now, you're gonna have to link your Facebook. So guess what that means for the Quest 2, the Quest Lite, whatever it is that's coming out in September. You're stuck in this box now. You don't get that new cool device we're all excited and wanting to hear about and see about without linking up a Facebook. And
Just
for
make a
some
fake
people,
one.
well, that's what some people are saying. Make a fake one.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is for those of us who have already linked ours currently, any games that you bought are stuck to that Facebook. So some of us, if you're almost double effed if you already owned an Oculus device before this news. Because if you were about to buy your first one, your first Quest 2 or Quest Lite when it comes out, you could make a fake one or use an old Facebook, whatever you want to do. You could do that and this would work. But if you've already, like me, bought a bunch of games on the Oculus store and your Facebook's already linked up, luckily it's an old fake one of mine, but that's beside the point.
Hey,
If it
don't
were
let
my
them hear you.
yeah, quiet. But if this were my real one, that's what would happen. And that would totally suck if I didn't want that to be the case. So the fact that it seems like they're not adding options here. Like they're not saying, we want you to link your Facebook, but you can do this. It's like we're being forced into it. And
Yes,
people
that's
don't
That's
go ahead.
literally what they're doing. Like, literally, I'm telling you, I saw the difference because I don't know if you still had your request at the time or not when it happened, but like literally in the beginning, they were like, sure, you can if you want to, but like you can just use your Oculus account. You can like add friends. And then it's like, bam, all of a sudden they're like, no, you cannot have friends. You cannot do social stuff without linking your Facebook. It was insane. Like, so weird, night and day difference. And since then, mm-mm.
And
I'm telling you,
and,
it's bad.
and these young people who don't even have a Facebook, they're like, wait, I have to use a Facebook? Can I use my TikTok or something instead?
Oh,
Like
okay. See, yes, and that's another thing. So what about these younger people who are like probably too young to even have a Facebook? So like what are they supposed to do? Like again, just more with the fake ones. I don't know, it's bad. It just doesn't even make
And
sense.
that's why Facebook is hoping that these people that don't even have a Facebook, they're going to get VR and realize, oh, I have to make a Facebook. Yep.
Yeah, it's not even an option. Like you're gonna have to.
That is not the right way to force people in. Well,
Ugh.
one last note, Adam started to touch on it, and this kind of goes down like the creepy dystopian future, but like if they succeed and if we're all spending all our time in VR, that would mean most of the advertisements we're all going to start seeing are going to be through Facebook. It's going to be theirs in our games and in our worlds, and it's gonna they would have absolute control of advertising of what we see, what we buy, what we choose, and it could be freaky. I don't want to get all scary, but it's definitely a little too much control, I feel like, for any company to have over this budding new medium that is so powerful, and we haven't figured out how powerful it is. For those of you who haven't been in VR yet, this is a revolutionary future that could be coming from this. You could do all of your work, you do all your gaming, all your socializing literally in virtual reality, but that would mean this one company could control literally everything you see.
Mm.
Scary.
Just
Yeah, scary stuff.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, there was
scary.
a study done not too long ago. We almost brought it up on a podcast one of these weeks, but eye tracking is one of the biggest new technologies for VR that's coming out. It has a lot of benefits, but these researchers were able to use eye tracking and they're able to figure out everything about you. They're able to figure out more or less your height, your age, your weight, your gender, your sexual preference,
Wow.
what types of products you like, everything about you. And so, like just imagine if Oculus started putting eye tracking its headsets to make it better, which it would. But
Ooh.
then they by default know all this information about you, know what you're paying attention on, and then just start subtly putting things in the environment for you to have.
Exactly.
Imagine just going around and just seeing a couple of
Chick-fil-A
Coke
advertisement.
cans, right? Or
Yeah.
just seeing like a couple of Coke cans around the corner, and it makes you start thinking, oh man, I could use a Coke. Yeah, that's a problem. That's kind of creepy.
Yes, yeah. Oh man.
But
it it starts to verge on things that we haven't really considered yet about like VR and subliminal advertising and stuff like that. Like that'll be a discussion for another week. But there's definitely a lot of implications that this has, and it's interesting to see where this goes. So let's hope with all this backlash, Facebook takes a step back or something, and at least gives them some time to figure this out. So before we wrap up this podcast, we did get another question from our live stream. We've been live streaming these every Wednesday for those of you out there who don't know that. You can come hang out during the live stream, get questions in the podcast last minute, and still hear us talk. Bailey Trini asks, will the next generation consoles make VR mainstream?
by next generation, you want to say 5 years?
Well, next gen consoles, I'm guessing they'd mean the PS5 and the Xbox One X. Is that what that's
I
called?
imagine so. And I gotta say that uh, I don't think so, personally. I still think that mainstream for VR is still another generation past that. Because look at Microsoft. They're not even trying with their console. They're going straight to PC. To make VR mainstream, I think will be the PlayStation 6 era. That's when it really starts us to catch on. Right now, it's almost still in the tech enthusiast realm. It costs a lot of money to get into. There's some finicky bits about it, and it's really an incredible experience, but it's maybe not for mainstream. I think right around PlayStation 6 era is when we're going to start seeing mainstream. What about you, Destiny? What do you think?
That one, since I'm not really big into console gaming, I don't know. I feel like Jay, you're the best person to really answer that one.
Well, the problem right now, and I'm looking at that name, I think it's Trine, so I'm sorry, probably mispronounced it terribly.
The
But
train.
looking at it, the problem is PS5 is going potentially all in on VR, but Xbox isn't. And mainstream is typically in the tech industry, what, like 100 million units? Well, we're about 10% of the way there. So I have a hard time, unless Xbox gets in on it too, I have a hard time believing that we're actually going to make that kind of 100 million mainstream line. That's kind of like the AirPods. Once they sold 100 million, everyone knew about them. Everyone had them. Everyone knew what they are. So that's we're a ways off from that. I think maybe by the end of life of the PS5 and the next Xbox, if if Xbox adds it, then we'll start to feel like, okay, VR is mainstream. So I hope that answers your question. One more, and then we're going to wrap things up. Natalie, I wonder who that is, asks, did you guys say that Facebook bought Beatsaber? Does that mean that Beatsaber will eventually only be available on Oculus headsets? And we need to put some laws in place on this stuff now. Well, this was news a while back that they bought Beat Games, and that was kind of one of the moments everyone was like, oh no, what's happening? We all freaked out. And only now are we starting to see Facebook do the things we thought were going to happen again. So I hope it wouldn't become an exclusive just because there's too much money in it being on all headsets. But already they're pulling it from arcades that don't have Oculus devices. So that's a bad sign. I can't predict the future, but it's bad. At least
But I
from my
think the difference is that those arcades didn't have to pay for Beatsaber. It just came pre-downloaded on those arcade headsets. And so maybe that's one of the differences there. But yeah, like if you're worried about that Oculus is or that Facebook is going to pull Beatsaber from your Steam VR, that's not going to happen.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You think they
crazy.
would?
I don't
Because
know.
because that's
Like,
the next
man.
level in just awfulness. I think so many more people would be ticked at Oculus for doing that. I think for
Yeah.
good PR, at least, they're just going to leave Beat Saber on all the different devices.
That's true. Just to save face.
Yeah.
This is like some evil IOI corporation stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I
well,
don't know.
we're going to wrap up this podcast. I want to say thank you to everybody who came out and watched the live stream. It's awesome that you get to be here with us and interact a little bit during it. Join our Discord server. We have a Discord server. We're hanging out there. We talk with people. We answer questions. We save the big questions for the podcast. It's a fun place. You guys are, well, Destiny, you're probably the most active on it.
Yeah, it's cool. You should
Yeah.
come hang out, come talk.
Come have a good time with us. I have a couple other Discord servers, so I'm not quite as active, but I still pop in. I still say stuff. Rip, our producer's there. Adam's there. You can get your questions answered from us. Chat about all things VR, and you can even influence what we're going to talk about on the podcast. That's where a lot of these discussions come from. We have a Patreon. It's $5 a month to support the podcast. We have, I think, 4 patrons now. Thank you so much to all 4 of you. Come join. If you want to support it, ask direct questions, get the podcast in stereo and a day early. Then you won't miss some of the awesome deals we tell you about in the podcast, but it's too late when we say, oh, by Friday the sale ends. You'll actually know on Thursday.
Yes,
And
please.
then,
I need to eat this month.
yes, help Adam eat. And then, of course, if you're listening to the podcast, maybe come check out the YouTube. At least watch a couple. Consider subscribing. See what it's like to see us here. And then, of course, if you're on YouTube, check us out. We're on. Geez, what all are we on? We're on
Just
Spotify.
about everything. You can listen
Everything
to us
except for
anywhere where
Facebook.
podcasts are found.
except for Facebook. But we are on Apple. We are on Spotify. We are all over the place. So thank you so much for being here tonight with us. You guys have any final words you want to share with our audience?
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Have a good night, and we will see you in the next episode.